Shalom, Shalom. We want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to our elders, which are the elders of Great Millstone. Much love to you brothers on the four corners of the planet Earth that have been set up through faith to seal the elect and to learn, okay, and to be edified. We're now in the Day of Atonement, okay, and it's an important time we're in, man, to to stricken ourselves, to put this flesh in the back, man, in the back burner, and to show you how by Shem Yahweh Shai that we're trying, man. That's how we're meant. It's not meant by our righteous acts, man. It's meant by the faith that we have in the Most High and His Son, and this truth that He's given us. So we're gonna jump right into it. We have this crisis in Ohio. Okay, the Most High is working as we're building up, as it says, as our outer man dies, our inner man grows stronger. This day is to strengthen our inner man, the spirit. Okay, and now the Most High is working and showing that, hey, things are happening, man. You got this thing with the Ebola, and now this water crisis. So we're gonna play this, and we'll try to, give you guys some edification.
We begin with hundreds of thousands of people in Toledo, Ohio without water now for a second day. They're having to live without the most basic necessities, limited showers, no washing dishes. You can see right there lines of people forming, waiting to get their hands on a limited supply of bottled water. Public water fountains off limits, shrouded in plastic because they're unsafe to use. The National Guard on the scene filling giant tankers with fresh water to give away. ABC's Lindsay Janis is in Toledo covering it all for us tonight.
On day 2 of Toledo's water crisis, it's all hands on deck. Volunteers passing out cases and cases of free water.
Keep going in nice and tight.
Oh, yes, sir.
Members of a high school football team lending a hand too.
You're using your football muscles to get cases of water into people's cars.
So workout for the day.
The National Guard helping people fill up containers with as much water as they can carry. The governor of Ohio and the mayor of Toledo saying new tests on the water show improvement, but they're not ready to lift the ban.
One thing people here need to know is everybody is on this. There's nobody asleep at the wheel, and we are not going to get off of this until this whole thing gets solved, no matter how long that it takes.
Toledo's water supply contaminated because of this algae bloom in Lake Erie. So large it can be seen from space. The bloom, turning the lake a shade of green, is caused by runoff from farms and livestock pens and can produce toxins called microcystins that get into the water supply. Too much and they can cause liver and nervous system damage. Families with young children finding it hardest to cope. Suzette Moore told us how she's taking care of her grandchildren.
How are you actually preparing meals and feeding the family?
Basically, we right now I'm grilling on the porch here on my grill. Brushing teeth, we use 1 bottle of water, everybody. We share it till we use it up, and then we're trying to use it sparingly because we don't know how long this is going to be.
And for dinner tonight, grilled meat with canned vegetables.
Let me read this real quick. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 27. It says, "For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against Him." So you got a lot of jakes that are catching it right now. The Lord's been out here telling people, man, through the prophets that He set up. But these people wave their hands. They've done this. Now the Lord got you people about to be starving, man. Okay, this is happened in prior history, man. This is not the first time the Lord has used shortage of water, man. So let's keep going.
Even washing dishes is a problem.
Just take it, push it around, wash it.
And the pets have to be given bottled water too.
Again, the mayor saying he needs to see more test results on that water before he'll consider lifting a ban. For now, nearly 500,000 people go into the work week without being able to drink water from their taps, and businesses are expected to remain closed. Cecilia?
We want to move on now to another major health threat this morning. This one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water. There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies. And to fix the problem with the water supply, ABC's Lindsay Janis is in Toledo with the latest. Lindsay, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was. This store sold more than 40,000 bottles yesterday. This water crisis now in day 2, with people having to be careful once again while they're brushing teeth and showering not to swallow the water.
This morning, nearly 500,000 Toledo area residents are waking up for a second day unable to drink water from the taps.
We just need the water so we can go home and take care of our kids.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Real quick verse. This is Wisdom of Solomon 16 and verse 16, and it says, let's start at 15. It says, "But it is not possible to escape thine hand. For the ungodly that denied to know thee were scourged by the strength of thy arm. With strange rains, hails, and showers were they persecuted that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed." Okay, so I was just reading this to say the strange things that are happening. The Lord has used strange things when it goes into strange rains. Okay, when it says strange rains, hail, and showers. Okay, so that the Lord will use water to attack you, man. So now he's using this algae bloom to punish these people in this area, man, because it's punishment.
After routine testing early Friday showed the city's water supply had been contaminated by toxins known as microcystins. At 2.5 times the acceptable amount, they can cause liver and nervous system damage, triggering symptoms from vomiting to numbness. The toxins are believed to have been produced by this algae bloom in Lake Erie, visible from space. Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day. The National Guard delivering bottled water from across the state.
It's been awful. It's been horrible.
As grocery store shelves cleared out by early morning, some residents faced price gougers, charging up to $15 for a case of water.
Well, we've been up since 8 o'clock this morning looking for water. There was no water on the north side of Toledo.
Schools and restaurants closed, unable to wash dishes or produce. This man who lives outside the affected zone paying it forward.
This is all well water, so we heard that everyone was in trouble with no water, so we just thought we'd help out.
Overnight, city officials reassuring residents the problem will be solved.
It is my hope that we don't need FEMA and we go back in. But I'm not going to give anyone a false hope. This is not going to be our new normal. We're going to fix this.
Scientists have been working to neutralize those toxins by adding carbons to the water. They've sent out new samples for testing across the state. Those results due back later today. In the meantime, this crisis prompting the city of Chicago to order additional testing on its water supply. Deanna?
Yeah, it's unfortunate to hear about that price gouging too. Lindsay, thank you.
This morning, nearly 500,000 people in Ohio and Michigan still cannot use their tap water pollution. This morning,
you might have a boa. You might have a boa.
Ohio and Michigan still cannot use their tap water pollution in Lake Erie is causing unhealthy levels of toxins. Authorities say it's still too soon to lift an emergency ban. Ivana Diaz is in Toledo, Ohio, where the water supply has been off limits since early Saturday. Ivana, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. We're entering the 3rd day of a water crisis here, and these water purification machines are ready to go. They can process up to 1,500 gallons of clean water an hour. Test results that came in overnight were encouraging, but the mayor says they're still too close for comfort.
We are still in status quo. The non-consume is still in place.
Early this morning, Toledo Mayor D. Michael Collins said he's not ready to lift the ban on drinking water.
I've instructed our people to go resample and retest because I am not going to take any chances with this community's well-being and health.
The ban impacts 3 counties in Ohio and 1 in Michigan that get their water from Toledo's supply. It's drawn 4 miles off the coast of Lake Erie.
Let me read this real quick. This is the book of Deuteronomy 4 and verse 34. And it says, "Or hath the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation, and that word assayed is tried, to go and take, tried or assayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by temptation, by signs, by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your power did for you in Egypt before your eyes. Unto thee it was showed that thou mayest know that the Lord, he is he is power. There is none else besides him. So if that time happened back then, so what makes it today, these days? The Most High showing signs and wonders, man. That's how we gonna be taken out of here. And then imagine the nuclear missiles when they hit. It says we'll be affrighted, man. We'll be afraid, because it's gonna be some miraculous things going on.
On Saturday, health officials declared the water supply off limits after dangerous levels of microcystin, a toxin that comes from algae, were detected after a massive bloom in the lake. If ingested, microcystin can cause nausea, rashes, and damage the liver. For nearly 500,000 people in the Toledo area, safe water became an increasingly scarce commodity. Over the weekend, volunteers gathered at a local high school to hand out bottles of water to the city's residents. The Ohio National Guard utilized water purification systems, the same kind troops used in Iraq and Afghanistan. At food stores, lines are long and shelves are bare. Tracy Rhodes drove more than an hour to Detroit's suburbs on Sunday to find bottled water for his family after taping his faucets shut.
When I have 4 members in the house here, my wife, my mother-in-law, my niece, and they need water. You have to do what you have to do and make sure water is provided.
Additional lab results could be released in a matter of hours. The governor has promised to look into the cause of the contamination so this doesn't happen again. Benita?
Adriana, thank you.
Nobody's asleep at the switch here. Everybody is on this.
In the belly of the Ohio Emergency Management Agency, state leaders are working around the clock to rescue a city gone dry. Bottled water is liquid gold in Toledo, where the governor has declared a state of emergency after toxins, possibly from algae on Lake Erie, tainted the water supply. No one is allowed to drink the water. Boiling it only makes it worse. The Ohio National Guard is delivering bottled water.
And that shows you it's a curse, because if you boil it, it'll make it worse. Usual time people think, oh, we can just boil the water, it'll be alright. Now the Lord has made it to where you can't even boil the water. It'll make it even more toxic. So that's a beautiful thing, man.
Water along with grocery retail chains, including Kroger, who diverted 27 trucks carrying 1.25 million bottles of water to Toledo. The Ohio EPA sealed and packaged water samples delivered to labs today faster than FedEx overnight.
This Cessna 182 is one of 3 aircraft OHP used today to pick up water samples in Toledo. Pilots flew those samples to labs across the state, even across the country, to find out if the situation is improving.
So we're trying to get as many eyes on this as possible so we can make a right determination on when we can lift this and allow people to drink the water.
The Ohio EPA says the water coming from the lake into Toledo's water plant had relatively low toxicity levels this summer until this sudden spike. At the moment, no one is sure how or why this happened.
Are we surprised in a way that this lower toxicity level created this problem? Yes, but we're not caught by surprise.
People are waiting in long lines and pillaging store shelves trying to get their hands on safe drinking water. Governor Kasich says no one is going home until this gets figured out.
And people will be here 24/7 until this is resolved.
We asked the governor how long this crisis could drag on. He told us he doesn't want to speculate.
Hopefully we'll get this resolved sooner rather than later, but, you know, everybody knows how difficult it is to live without that precious water.
All right, we're going to switch a little gears, and there was an earthquake that just took place in China. So we'll look up on the story right
China now saying more than 360 people are dead and nearly 2,000 injured after a magnitude 6.1 earthquake
rattled the southern part of the country. The powerful quake reportedly flattening around 12,000 homes. Just look at the damage, with rescuers still combing through all that rubble in search of survivors. The Red Cross sending relief supplies, including quilts, jackets, and tents for the many left homeless.
And in China's Yunnan province, where authorities report at least 357 people have died, many more are still missing in a powerful earthquake. A 6.5 magnitude quake jolted the Ludian county of Jiaotong City. More than 2,500 soldiers are being deployed to join in the disaster relief effort. Meanwhile, more than 1,800 are injured, 30,000 houses have been damaged, and most of the traffic, electricity, and telecommunications have been adversely affected in the area.
At least 360 people have been killed and more than 1,400 injured after a powerful earthquake struck southwest China. More than 12,000 homes were destroyed in the Yunnan province when the 6.3 magnitude quake hit. Residents have been frantically searching for survivors in the rubble. Security pictures show people running from buildings and homes and gathering in the streets.
Hey,
rescuers.
You got Nate. You got this Nate character talking about, oh, what's your form of plan? What's your form of action? What's your form of action against natural disasters, bro? You don't know what's gonna happen, okay? That you don't have any idea is gonna take place. But I'm gonna read this. This is the form of action. This is Psalms 46 and 2. It says, therefore we will not. It says, therefore will we not. So let me read that again. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. Salah. There is a river, the streams wherefore shall make glad the city of the Most High, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. Yahweh is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. The Most High shall help her, and that right early. The heathens raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, and the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The power of Jacob is our refuge. Salah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, what desolation he hath made in the earth. He maketh wars to cease unto the ends of the earth. And he breaketh the bow, he cutteth the spear in sunder, and burneth the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am the Most High. I will be exalted among the heathens. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The power of Jacob is our refuge. Salah.
Still trying to reach victims in more remote towns.
The death toll from a strong earthquake in China is rising. The quake struck Yunnan province in the country's southwest. CCTV's Ai Yang joins us live on the phone with more on the devastation there and what is the latest number of casualties.
Well, Sean, more than 360 people have been confirmed dead so far and 1,600 injured. Some 12,000 houses have collapsed and also more than 200 aftershocks have taken place in the region. And previous reports have said that the possibility of a major aftershock of more than 6.5 magnitude hasn't yet been ruled out. So you can imagine it has been a sleepless night for those remaining in the quick zone. There are several hundred rescue workers already working on site currently, and another 1,000 more soldiers heading there. But there has been some torrential rain during the night there. That and landslides in the region have made the rescue work quite difficult. But on the other hand, the good news is that previously blocked roads have been cleared, Sean.
What can you tell us about the region? Is this an area that has suffered quakes before? Are the homes strong in that area? Are they more susceptible to the kind of jolts that come with a punishing earthquake?
This is the biggest earthquake that struck the area in 4 decades and the biggest one in the Yunnan province since the 2000s. And this year is geographic and weather conditions for summer season in that province, and especially in its mountainous areas, are usually prone to natural disasters such as quakes and landslides, and it has been raining on and off in past weeks. So in the next few days, the weather conditions will be very critical to the rescue program.
What a desperate scene. Hi, Yang. Thanks very much for bringing us the...
Our top story this morning, at least 367 people have been killed and almost 2,000 injured after...
This is the book of Isaiah 13 and verse 13. It says, "Therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger." So that shows you, man. The Lord's gonna shake it even more with those missiles, and shake it even more than it is now. But these earthquakes are speeding up, man. You have the solar activity that's happening on the sun that's correlating with these tectonic plates that's shifting around, the volcanoes that have become active, man. And they already see that there's chariots, the huge ships, what you call UFOs, around the sun, man, doing different things to the sun that are having hand in hand with stuff that are happening on Earth.
Powerful earthquake struck China's southern Yunnan province on Sunday afternoon, local time. The 6.1 magnitude quake struck the densely populated city of Jiaotong, toppling buildings and damaging roads throughout that area. China's state-run Xinhua news agency says the earthquake was the strongest, in fact, to hit this region in 14 years. Rescue and search operations go on, with over 2,500 troops dispatched to the worst hit areas, carrying tents, food and other supplies. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon offered his condolences and said the UN was ready to lend.
Alright, we're going to go to the last story. Now, to show you that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's patching together these last prophecies, man. Now Russia's being isolated with the sanctions that's being put upon it by United States and its European allies. So that has it's not really affecting them, because it's falling into the plans and the prophecies, because they've set up something in the BRICS. Okay, that's why you have to watch all aspects of this news that's going on, because now the bond has been forged. These are the countries that are going to come against the United States and their allies, man. Listen to this. This is a very important story, man. Very important.
Though a multi-billion-dollar financial alliance is being forged in the Brazilian city of Fortaleza, the world's top 5 emerging nations, known as BRICS, have signed an agreement to create a rival to the IMF and the World Bank. Big news. Let's go to Brazil. Paul Scott's there. It's quite an undertaking, isn't it, Paul?
Yes, well, the main showpiece event of the 2-day BRICS summit here in Brazil is the signing off of this new development bank, the BRICS Development Bank, as it's going to be known. And, well, that deal has now been confirmed. As you say, it's seen as an alternative and a rival to the International Monetary Fund and to the World Bank. And the 5 emerging economies, of course, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, are hoping that this new bank will act as a rival to the IMF and the World Bank and end the global dominance of the US dollar. Now, initially, each country will put in 10 billion US dollars. It'll equate to 50 billion. The hope is that that will later rise to 100 billion, and the money will be spent on infrastructure and development projects in emerging economies. Now, also, what has been announced is a fund as well that's worth 100 billion that will protect these emerging.
I gotta read this. This is the book of Psalms 2. And we'll start at verse 1. It says, "Why do the heathens rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet I have set my king upon the holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathens for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possessions. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. These are heathens, man. They think they're going to stand up and they're going to be the ones to grab that power seat next, man. Y'all ain't grabbing nothing but shovels and hoes and picks, man. You going into slavery, man. You upcoming brick nations, you finna be the next workers, man. Whoever survived out of the aftermath of this nuclear holocaust, you going into slavery.
Economies protect the 5 nations from any potential global future financial crisis. So what's happening here in BRICS in 2014 at this summit is that the 5 emerging economies really are trying to break away from the dependency of the US dollar.
All right, Paul, thanks for the update there. Well, if you look at the facts and figures, you can see maybe why the IMF and the World Bank not globally popular with everyone. That financial crisis that struck the world in 2008, its aftershocks still being felt in Europe today. Their countries that thought they'd found a saviour in the form of IMF loans are now criticising the lender for holding them captive because of it. According to the IMF's bailout terms, a borrowing country has got to slash jobs, slash pensions, slash wages, even change laws, all on the lender's whim. It's like if you go to a bank and get a loan. Spain, for example, forced around 1 billion people out of work. More than half of the country's young people are still unemployed. Portugal, still dealing with the banking crisis and shrinking GDP. And Greece, after 6 years of recession, has still got the worst unemployment rate in the EU. China expert Andrew Lang says all this then makes the BRICS an alternative, attractive place to be.
The world is shifting into from a unipolar kind of world order to a more multipolar world order, more inclusive perhaps of the various ethnic, religious and kind of regional kind of interests, rather than be dictated by a one-size-fits-all kind of formula. So I think that there is a great role for the BRIC countries to play.
Alright, with that, I'm going to say all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai. Double honors to our elders, which are the elders of Great Millstone. Much love to you brothers on the 4 corners of the planet Earth, the elect that have been set up by the Most High by faith and the understanding of this truth. Much love to you brothers, keep faith, we're almost home. Shalom.